and welcome. I'm so excited that you're here to hang out with me for a little bit. My name is Julia, and I'm with Julia Sue's Stamping. I'm passionate about stamping, coloring, paper crafts, making cards, but most of all, I'm passionate about sharing the fun of doing all of that with you. Today I am going to be answering some frequently asked questions. I get a lot of questions about stamping and about doing what I do. So I compiled 8 of them really quickly. I am going to do that today. I'm going to answer them, and then at the end of that, because it should be pretty quick, I have a very quick and fun project to share with you, which also is right in line with the frequently asked questions that I get. So just stick around till the end, because we'll make the project then, and I will have all the details listed on my blog, my website, so please be sure you check that out. I live in Northeast Ohio, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, so everything I'm going to show you is Stampin' Up! The first one that I get a lot is, what is stamping? And stamping is a craft. It's crafting technique where you take ink and you apply it to a rubber or a photopolymer stamp, and then you press it onto the paper or what other material you've decided to stamp to create designs and images. So in order to move on with the other ones, I think I'm going to turn the camera down to the work surface to make it easier to answer the questions and follow along that way. So if you're ready, I'm going to turn the camera down. All right, the next question I get asked a lot is, what's the difference between the rubber and photopolymer stamps? So I have a set of each right here to help share. This is a photopolymer, the Simply Said, and you can see that it is clear. You can see right through these so that you can see exactly where it is that you're stamping. With the red rubber, they are not clear. It is a red rubber, and it is not something you can see through to see where you're stamping. So lots of times you need to become familiar with the stamps, how they stamp, so that you can stamp straight with them, or you do them on another piece of paper and cut the image out so that it's not an issue on your project. What is the best way to store stamps is question number 3 that I get asked a lot. And some people say that you should always store the stamps flat. I think it's okay to store them on their sides. Either way, this is how I do mine, on their ends like this. No matter what, you want to store them in a cool, dry place, away from direct sunlight, and that will prevent them from drying out or even warping. The next question I get frequently is, can I use different types of inks with my stamps? And yes, you can. There are different types of inks like dye-based, pigment-based, and solvent inks. So there are even different types like a watermark stamp pad. This is an ink that is a watermark that you would use for different types of projects like heat embossing, or to make it look like you have an image that is the same color as the paper but a little bit darker. So it's nice to use Versamark for that. StazOn, it's a solvent ink, and it is used to stamp on surfaces other than just paper. You can stamp on material with it. You can stamp on hard surfaces. You can stamp on glass. You can stamp on a lot of things with the solvent ink. And this is a project I did years ago. I picked up some tiles that are not finished. They don't have a glaze on them. They have not been glazed, but I picked these up from either like Home Depot or Lowe's a long time ago. I think this was, oh gosh, at least 12 years ago, I would say. About 12 years, maybe 11 years ago, and stamped with the StazOn ink using a stamp set similar to something like the Thoughtful Wishes, where I had lots of plants and things like that, as you can see. And that is how long ago I did this. Then I put little feet on it And I did 4 in a package, wrapped them up with some ribbon, and gave them away as a Christmas gift. So you can see if you stamp on with StazOn or something of that nature, you can use lots of different surfaces to stamp on it, and it works very well. If you want to use something on material, you want to do a craft ink, and then you'll have to let it dry, so you can heat set it with a heat tool or something of that nature. And Stampin' Up! Does no longer have the craft pads all pre-inked. They will sell you a pad, and then you can ink it up yourself with craft ink. So they do have that, where you have a pad and then the ink refill, and you can ink it up yourself. So those are some different types of inks that are available. There's also water-based ink, so you can have like a Memento Tuxedo Black, or the other inks that Stampin' Up! Has, and those are all the water-based inks. You can stamp on surfaces like fabric, wood, glass, all depends on the ink. And then the next question I have is, what are the basic supplies that I need to start stamping? Well, the best thing is to have some stamps, some ink, and cardstock. And you will also need some blocks to put your stamp on. For instance, I've got a little tiny stamp of hello here from the Simply Said, so I needed a really small acrylic block to put it on. So this is what I'm going to stamp with the project today. And the project I'm going to do with you really quickly is fun. It just has some basic papers of black, basic black and basic white. That's it. That's all we're going to use today. I've got a regular size of paper that has been cut to be, let's see, 8.5 by 5.5, and then I scored it in the center. And then I've got, for the inside, a piece of basic white, so they'll be easy to write a message. And then I'm going to use these leftover strips of tape that I get when I have kits from Stampin' Up! They give you all the things you need. They're all inclusive with their kits, and they give you all this adhesive. And I decided I would use that right now to create a card. So I'm going to put this on the inside of the card right here. All right. And everything I use will be listed on my blog, so just check that out in case you missed that with this. And then I've got another sheet here. I will have all the measurements and all the details listed there. So if you want to recreate this cute little project yourself, you can. This is a great project for the month of October because it's kind of fitting. All right, now I'm going to put this on the front. It is the exact same size as the piece I put on the inside. What I wanted to do is pull out a whole sheet, and I am going to begin to rip right down the side of it. Just ripping away. This is the hardest part of this project, in my opinion, is ripping the side. The very first tear is like the hardest one. Here we go. Put that in recycling. And then I'm going to tear, well, you can see I already had torn the other side. Now I'm going to tear this side, and I'm going to make a strip of basic white cardstock. And this card that I'm going to create with you right now only has stamps, ink, and paper. It doesn't have anything else, and it is called a SIP card, stamps, ink, paper. It makes it very easy. So I have these strips here, and then what I'm going to use is the Memento ink. And hopefully everything I show you will be stuff you basically have at home. You'll just need some adhesive and maybe a pair of scissors. I've got a tissue here. I'm going to take this tissue, I'm going to dip it in the ink, and then I'm going to just go ahead and get the edges where I have ripped it. And I'm going to get a little bit onto the cardstock too, because I want to get the other side at the same time. And you can see that the tissue kind of comes apart a little bit from the friction, and that's okay. Not a problem. All right, so Looks kind of messy, and that is what I want. I want it to look kind of messy. Perfect. That's exactly what I want. Okay, now I'm going to do the other one. And it's probably going to be equally as messy. Get it in there. All right. Oops. Now, you could use a blending brush for this if you happen to have that kind of tool, but I'm trying to show, if you don't have much of anything at all, how you could go ahead and make some adorable cards and have some fun. Maybe this is something you want to do with your kids or your friends or some family this weekend. This is a really, really fun, cute card to make. Now I'm just going to go ahead and throw that away, and I'm going to brush off the extra pieces from the tissue that I've got there. All right, brought it right back. Now, what I'm going to do is put my card out. I think I will fold this in half so I keep from getting any ink possibly at all on there. I have a little bit of scrap, basic black, and I'm going to just tear it out here and make kind of a circle as much as I can. This is a torn paper project. Kind of get it rounded-ish. I'm not going to worry about it being perfect. Now I'm going to do two of those, and I'm placing the cardstock that I have colored down on the bottom. See how far it's probably going to need some adhesive, and I'm going to put some adhesive onto the back of this sheet here, and I'm not going to worry about it being perfect. Just place it down on there. There we go. Now I'm going to do that with, yeah, I think I'll cut this off first. Using my scissors, I'm going to cut that. Very good. And then cut this edge as well. And then the end here. All right. Now I'm going to take this other piece that I've got here, and I think I will kind of put that up around the top part. Yeah, I think that'll fit really well. So I'm looking around for the adhesive. Just one big strip down the middle. Perfect. I got that. Just strip that off. And then I think I'll place it on here kind of like that. All right. And again, I'm just going to trim it off really quickly. Okay. Got that done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of those round pieces that I tore, and I'm going to tuck it underneath a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to use a glue dot or whatever adhesive that you would have that you want to use. I'm going to grab a glue dot, and I'm going to get it underneath there. Okay, now I'm going to take another circle that I have already torn out, and you can see these are not even close to being perfect or really very good circles at all. And that's okay. And I'm going to tuck that underneath too. Okay, so I've got both of those in there, and then I'm going to get another piece here. I'm going to, I think, put it like that. You see I'm kind of creating this on the fly as I'm doing this right with you. And we'll go ahead and take the adhesive off. And I think I'll put this piece up like that. Yep, that works. Trim it off. And trim this side off too. So all I've used so far is some paper, a little bit of ink, a tissue, and some scissors. And lastly, I think I will take that same piece, and I think like that sounds really good to me. A little bit of adhesive again. So what do you think of this so far? Can you tell what I'm making? I'll bet you can. And I will put this one there. Okay. I have a little, almost a mummy looking thing here, but not quite. And trimming off the extra paper that I have on the edge. Okay, and then I also tore little pieces of white to use in the eyes. See, I told you this is a torn art project. So I'm just going to put those like that using glue dots. And get the glue dot out and put it behind my little piece of white that I tore from a piece of cardstock. And I've got another glue dot. I'll take that off on my fingers. Kind of squooshing it up. Is that a technical crafting term? Squooshing it up. Putting it down. There. All right. See, I've got a little mummy, little monster peeking through. And then I'm going to take the photopolymer stamp, which is easy to see through so I can see where I am stamping, and putting it onto the Memento Tuxedo black ink. And I think I'll put a big hello right here on the side. Nice. I'll close up that now, and that is how you can get a clear image. You want to apply even pressure. So the sixth question was basic supplies needed: stamps, ink, and paper, maybe an acrylic block for the photopolymer stamps, and optional tools can be like a bone folder, a paper trimmer, adhesive. Always will help with your crafting experience. To get a clear image when you're stamping, question number 7, you want to apply even pressure. So you do even pressure to ink it up, and then as you put it onto your image, onto your stamped item that you want, you just press it down and then lift it up. And a stamping mat underneath can help you achieve even better results. And now I'm going to put the adhesive on here to put it onto a black frame and then onto the card base. So I've got this adhesive that I had. Take that strip off, and this strip as well. This is really good adhesive. And now I'm going to put it down onto this little mat of basic black that I have that's just an 1/8 inch bigger. Perfect. All right, and now I'm going to put it onto the card base, and it's all done. This is the art piece, yeah. I got confused for a second. I thought maybe I had the wrong piece I was going to put adhesive onto. Here we go. All right. I'm going to go ahead and set these things aside. Take off the backing so the adhesive shows up. There we go. All right, let's make sure I get it on the card the right way. There we go, there's the card. And then I'm going to place it right down onto the card. And there we go. All right, how cute is that? Plenty of room for writing a fun message, but a big hello to somebody. And see how it didn't matter that it wasn't perfectly circled. It's perfect circles because I'm tucking them underneath the paper anyway. All right, so how do I clean my stamps is question number 8. And the best thing to use is like a Stampin' Scrub with some Stampin' Mist, or you can use some water. This is a chamois, and you can see it is well loved. It's been used a lot. I rubbed the stamp on it, and it's perfectly clean and ready to use on another project. If you are using something like StazOn, you'll want to put Stays On Cleaner onto the stamp and then run it under water and clean it really well. Even a little bit of mild soap and water works. And then you want to be sure you dry your stamps properly before you store them, because that way they'll last a lot longer for you. All right, so here was the cute project that we did, and I answered 8 different questions about stamping that I have been asked a lot. All right, that's it. The frequently asked questions that I get, and a bunch of answers. I hope that you enjoyed this video today and that you have an opportunity to get inky. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Bye.